In 2016, following a charity cycle ride from London to Brazil, TV presenter Charlie Webster became critically ill with malaria. Aged just 33, she was put into an induced coma and at one point given 24 hours to live. While doctors called her eventual recovery a miracle, for Charlie it felt like anything but that. She's now sharing her story and lots of other things in this brilliant new book. It's called Why It's OK to Talk About Trauma. And she joins me now. This is great because this is coming from a place... No, it's coming from a place you know exactly what it's like to experience trauma. Yeah. It's far more common than we think, isn't it? There's an awful lot of us going round that have gone through, maybe not almost died from malaria, but various other traumas in their life. Yeah,
and, you know, writing this book, it was... I had the choice of, do I write a memoir? Because you're right, there's a lot of things that have happened to me. Like after I contracted malaria and was in a coma for 2 weeks, I was told I was going to die, and it kind of brought back a lot of things that I'd not dealt with from my childhood as well. And I was searching for help, and I knew that I wasn't okay, but I couldn't quite figure out how I carried on with my life after this. You know, I survived, and then it was like, and now what? And what inspired me to write the book was I just couldn't find anything that spoke to me and that was real. And it was accessible. A lot of the books just weren't relatable and weren't real life. So I've put everything that I've learned. I did go on a journey, a therapeutic journey. I was part of a trauma group. I then studied trauma kind of processing really in psychology. And then it's you know, it's so not niche. We go through these things. We go through
this
things.
Talks to everybody.
It's life.
Yeah, it really does. What I liked about it though, it gives you the tools to overcome trauma. But also, it's a very hopeful book. You know, because sometimes you think, oh, why it's OK to talk about trauma, that's going to be a slog. Yeah. It's really not, because it's very hopeful and very optimistic as well.
I'm glad you said that, because, again, I'm like, do I entitle it trauma? Do I scare away from it? And I'm like, no, this is actually it. 9 times out of 10, the majority of us, like over 70% of us have been through a traumatic experience. And a lot of the time, we talk about that moment in time. I remember, you know, there was so much media and press around that moment, which you've just shown after what happened to me. And then it was like, OK, what do I do with my life now? And it was really scary. I lost a lot of confidence. I was getting a lot of flashbacks, intrusive thoughts, and you know, every time I fell asleep, I felt like I was in that coma again. And like I said, it kind of brought back a lot of childhood memories. And I think we just have this habit, and I think you know, we just push them down.
Of course we do.
We ignore it because it's uncomfortable. We don't like to feel vulnerable. But I wanted to say do what it says on the tin, basically, and to not be shy away from it.
What I thought was fascinating and actually happens more than we would think is there you are, you've got over this. You nearly died. I mean, it was, you know, touch and go.
Yeah.
You nearly died, so you would think, hurrah, wonderful, great, I shall now go and celebrate. The whole world is going to be amazing. It's going to be rainbows and all of that. No, not at all. Not at all. It was, you know, you're still living, even now, you know, with the effects, you know, panic attacks, anxiety, all of these things.
Yeah.
It takes you a while to, you know, to get over that.
It really does. And I think with anything, really, I mean, we saw during COVID how many people were in intensive care, how many people were in hospitals. We had a lot of loss during that time. Loss is also trauma.
Of course it is.
It's a lot of grief, and we do just pick up and carry on with our lives and not realise how these emotions affect us and how they affect our behaviour. We can become very closed off and very numb, feel a lot of anxiety and overwhelm, but aren't quite sure where to go. And it's very hard to speak about it. It's ironic I said talk about trauma.
Yeah.
It's also really hard. And I think, you know, even talking to you sat here, I kind of want to say that I know we say you're not alone, but you really aren't alone. And I want people to see themselves in this book, to know that they're not, that other people feel the same, and we understand, and there's commonality in how we feel after we've dealt with distressing things.
Yeah, what I think about this as well is it'll spark conversations, which is really good. You know, it might get somebody saying, do you know what, I am actually feeling like this, and can we all just sit and talk about it, because nobody quite knows what to say. This book is out now, of course. There should have been something else happening round about now, shouldn't there? Which I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You've been through, what, 5 rounds of IVF?
Yeah,
5?
so...
And the baby would have been due round about now, the last time you tried?
You know, as soon as you just said that, I kind of went, like, and smiled, but it's not a smile, it's
No,
just a defensive mechanism, right? Which
absolutely.
I talk about in my book, how we do this, like, smile,
paint
and
the
we
face
joke
on.
about it and paint the face on, which I know you know too well as well.
Absolutely.
And I wrote this book because I wanted to really help people. This book I didn't write for me, I didn't write it for my career. I really feel what's in it will make a difference and help individuals, but help us as a society understand what trauma is and to be trauma-informed. I put my pen to paper, I finished it. I know we don't really write on a pen anymore. I locked it away, it went to print, and then what happened to me happened. I did actually get pregnant. I ended up having a miscarriage very recently. I was going to announce the pregnancy during the book release, so I would have been sat here telling you this.
Which would have been amazing.
Great news, and I think, you know, in a way, I'm glad I've not ever spoke about it. And I think I'm glad you've brought it up because, you know, I'm 41, and I feel like for so long I was told not to get pregnant. My mum had me at a very young age. I know you can kind of relate. To this.
My mum was the same. She was very young when she had me.
And we're told to, you know, get our education, and which I think is really important. And we go into this. We're pushed into career now. Women can be amazing things. They can be leaders. They can own property. It wasn't that long ago that women couldn't do that.
I know, it's extraordinary, isn't it?
It really is. And I strove for all these things, and I'm so proud of that. And I have no regrets. And I encourage any women to go and do everything they want. But there is a warning here. That is important because I'm in this situation now where I'm like, oh, how did this happen? Nobody informed me that it's actually hard to get pregnant.
Yes.
You know, I don't think this is going to happen for me now. But it's not because there's something wrong with me. It is because of my biological age. And I know that's scary for us as women to go, no, there's not a biological clock. Women can do anything. We can have it all. But I actually think that's really responsible for women. And again, it's just another lie.
No,
it's about informing women, because it is true. Society has changed so much, which I'm so grateful for, and I've campaigned around that. I know you have, you've spoken out, but biological clock hasn't, and it is real. And lying to women and saying, you know, I don't want to get biological clock forced down my throat is not true. Because
it's about having those informed choices as well, isn't it? I mean, gosh, when you think about it, so many of us spend, you know, our 20s and 30s trying not to get pregnant sometimes, you know, especially in your 20s when you're just starting out in your career, maybe. And it's to know that actually sometimes you will have to make that very difficult choice. And I'm just so sorry, because going through, you know, everybody sort of glibly goes, oh, yeah, IVF. I know from friends who've gone through it, it's really tough. It's tough. It's tough physically.
We don't talk about that either.
And mentally is really tough. It's very, you must be. Well, you are. I've read the book. You're the most resilient person.
I know, but you know what? It's interesting because I talk about resilience in the book because I feel like we talk so much about resilience, but actually resilience can keep us stuck. It can keep us in unhealthy relationships because we just strive and carry on. And you know what? In IVF, it can keep us pushing and pushing and destroying ourselves.
Right.
And that is something else that's important to talk about is it does really have it can really emotionally and have a negative mental health impact because you inject yourself full of all these hormones, but then you're left with this like, is it going to happen? And then it's this disappointment, or, you know, for me it did happen, and then something went wrong, and then you're again same as what we've just been talking about. You're left to deal with that, and it's again so ironic because I kind of wanted to show there's a happy ending with this book, and that was almost what I wanted to sit here and tell you. And but I hope that it is still hopeful, and it's more about giving information. And actually, I went back over what I'd written to help myself work through this because I am heartbroken, and it's been a challenging time, and to write a book about trauma and then that happened to me.
I mean, I know
it's very recent.
I'll tell you what, you've done us all a massive service with this book. Why it's okay to talk about trauma. It's out now. And Charlie, it's be very proud.
Thank you.
Be very proud of it. It's fantastic, and it's going to help so many people.
I really hope so.
Thank you so much.